Okay, hello and welcome back to this segment. I have found my old Mod 2 video and it's segments from my training section. So I wasn't able to record the actual test, but this is basically what happens. Also, big shout out to my Dubai follower who I'm making this voiceover for. An old friend found one of my YouTube videos for Module 1. Found it and I was like, oh my god, from years away. So this is dedicated to you, mate. Hopefully you pass your test, and to everybody else who's actually taken their test. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain the process to you, let you watch a video. So what I'm doing is actually, this is me writing. I'm recording as we go along. I'm going to give you an overview of Module 2 first, so you know what to expect from the test and what happens, like as in step by step. And then I'm also going to speed up this footage and talk to you as the instructor's talking to me, so you have a radio on. So Module 2 is an on-road test. What happens is you must pass your Module 1 before you can take the Module 2 test. You can book both modules at the same time. But if you do not pass Module 1, you must wait 3 working days before you can retake it. The Module 2 test normally takes about 40 minutes and includes an eye test check. So basically you stand there and he asks you to read a number plate, a show me tell me vehicle safety question, so like where would you check your tire thread, how would you check if the pressures are correct, where do you check your fluids, how do you check your brake wear, loads of random questions like that. They'll check your road riding, they'll check your independent riding, as in they'll check your road riding with instructions. And independent riding means they'll tell you follow the road signs and just continue, so you kind of do your own riding as it were. You must bring your Module 1 pass certificate to the Module 2 test, plus all documents you had to bring to Module 1 test. So what does eye check element eyesight mean? You have to read a number plate from a distance of 20 meters for vehicles with new style number plate, or 20.5 meters for vehicles with the old style number plate. So what we mean by that is the new style number plates with the start with the 2 letters followed by 2 numbers, for example AB 51 DCE. You'll fail your test if you fail the eyesight check. So if you wear glasses, make sure you wear glasses and you should be fine. So the show me and tell me questions, what do we mean by that? Well, what they mean is you'll be asked 2 vehicle safety questions known as the show me tell me questions. These test that you know how to carry out basic safety checks. So what can those mean? Let me give you a quick example of a couple of them so you know what the situation is there. So you can be asked things like identify where you would check the engine oil level and tell me how you would check that the engine has sufficient oil. So you'll need to identify where to check oil. You find where the dipstick is or a sight glass if the motorcycle has it. Explain that the level should be between the max and min marks for dipstick. Remove dipstick and wipe clean. Return and remove again to check oil level against max min marks for sight glass. Ensure glass is clean when checking. So that's like your answer to that question. So let me give you another example. Show me how you would check that the horn is working on the machine off-road only. It's like if you're parked up basically. So your check is carried out by using control, turn on the ignition if necessary. Identify where the brake fluid reservoir is and tell me how you would check that you have a safe level of hydraulic fluid. So you'll basically show them where the reservoir is and check levels against high and low markings. You may need to tip the bike over to make sure it's not slanted, or if you have a center stand, perfect. Another example, tell me how you would check that the lights and reflectors are clean and working. Explanations only basically. So operate switch, turn on ignition if necessary, identify reflectors, check visually for cleanliness and operation. Another example, show me how you would check that the brake lights are working. Operate brake, place hand over light to or make use of reflections in windows to see that working. Tell me how you would check the condition of the chain on this machine. Check for chain wear, correct tension and rear wheel alignment. Tension should be adjusted as specified in the machine handbook. Drive chain should be lubricated to ensure that excessive wear does not take place. Another one, show me what checks you would make on the steering movement before using the machine. Handlebars should be free to move smoothly from left lock to full right lock without any control cables being stretched. trapped or pinched and without any snagging between moving and fixed parts. Another one, tell me how you would check your tires to ensure that they are correctly inflated, have sufficient tread depth, and that their general condition is safe to use on the road. Correct tire pressure settings can be found in the owner's manual. Pressures should be checked using a reliable gauge. Tread depth must be at least 1 millimeter deep, forming a continuous band of at least 3/4 of the breadth of the thread and all the way around. There should be no lumps, bulges or tears. Show me how you would check the operation of the front brake on this machine. Wheel the machine forward and apply the front brake. Show me how you would check the operation of the brakes on this machine. Check for excessive travel on the brake lever and the brake pedal and for unusual play or sponginess. Show me how you would check the operation of the engine cut-out switch. Operate switch without the engine being started. Show me how you would switch on the rear fog light and explain when you would use it if fitted. Operate switch, turn on ignition and dipped headlights. If necessary, check warning light is on, explain use. Show me how you switch your headlight from dipped to main beam. Operate switch with ignition or engine if necessary, check with main beam warning light. After the show me tell me questions, you're going to basically do the road riding element. So all the show me tell me is basically in the test center before you set off. I know I was talking over me riding while I was talking about that, but you won't be riding while you're doing that. That's just to not let you get bored. So road riding, you'll drive in various road and traffic conditions, but not on motorways. You'll be asked to carry out normal stops, an angled start, pulling out from behind a parked vehicle, a hill stop where possible. The examiner will give you directions using a radio. They'll normally follow you on a motorcycle. Driving test routes are not published, so it's like a mix of certain routes, but we knew what the routes were basically. We did all the possible routes that they would normally cover, even though they're not published. So you cannot, if you're taking a good driving school, they'll know a lot of the test locations and routes. So you cannot check them before your test. Independent riding, so you'll have about 10 minutes of independent riding. This is designed to assess your ability to ride safely while making your own decisions. So I'll talk to you more about this because they try and not catch you out, but they try and take you on roads which are challenging with road signs and things like that, and to see how you react. You can ask the examiner to repeat the directions. If you forget them, you will not fail the test. If you go off the route, you cannot use a sat nav. So what this means is, say for example you're following directions and he says to you, go right, third exit on the roundabout, but you're in the left lane. Don't try and go right. Stay in the left lane, and if it's too late to adjust lanes, carry on your left route. So even though you didn't follow his instructions, you carry out a safe maneuver for what you're doing at the time. So if you're doing a left turn, carry on doing the left turn, do your normal checks, and then continue going down that route. All he'll do is, oh yeah, okay, we've got the wrong road there, we'll have to come back around or whatever. So what we'll do is carry on, and I'll talk to you a bit about the riding segments. Okay, so now let's get into the proper mod 2. So you've done your safety checks, everything's sorted out, you're going to come out. I'm giving you a voiceover now of how things work. So you'll get instructions and you're going to basically follow them. So right now we're making sure everything is clear. We're going to go out. There's a truck or van parked here, so make sure your mirrors and maneuvers are all sorted out. I kind of pulled out there really. So yeah, what should have happened there is, where that white car was coming out, I should have waited for that white to come go past, but obviously this is like a mock situation, so we don't really start it until we start it. So you'll see at a point where everything gets more finished. So I've got my visor down now, and we're keeping a nice eye out, keeping a steady look at our speed, and also looking well up ahead. So with this situation, with the roundabouts that come or any roads that come, basically the instructor behind you is going to be watching to see where you're looking. So that slight movement of your helmet, your head, your eyes, trust me, he'll notice them. So that's what they do for a living. So right now you can see there, I did a little glance there as that little milk float was going by, and that just insinuates that, okay, I'm already planning. I looked right there because I saw the cars ahead of me slowing down. So do both mirrors, slow down well in advance, and then make sure if you need to put your foot down and cover your brake. So you're going to have your back brake on, not cover. Make sure your back brake is actually on, so the light's flashing. That makes sure it's your standard for if someone knocks you behind, you got that option there, so that they're not going to tip you over the bike, your back brake is on. So now here, right glance as we're going along this lane, and keeping your eyes open while ahead. Ideally it needs to be smooth. Think of it like a granddad driving or riding. Just take your time. You're on a bike, but treat it like a car, and just take your time and do everything as you would do. So you can see here now it's slowly approaching, and you'll get signals in your head if they've got a radio system set up, so you should be fine for that. You can see the car in front of us is going to be turning right. You'll see I'm looking all over the place, as in I'm doing extra checks. Riding scooters for over 5 or 6 years, you learn to keep your eyes open on a bike because people don't see you. So I've been taking a number of riding, well, I was on CBT for ages and I kept renewing my CBT. So there I did a right glance and I moved over to the next lane, and here we've got a learner, so you want to keep careful here because the lanes are merging into one. You can see that getting narrower, so make sure you glance and see if there's a car behind you, and you carry on. Dominant position, center of the road, treat it like a car, for example. Don't go too left or too right. And we can see there behind us the instructors, well, the trainer's behind the car, so he's actually lost me, but that's down to him. He needs to be, more proactive. So don't worry about the instructor. You ride your own ride. If he's catching up, he's catching up. If there's a car in his way, that's his problem. So carry on going and give him a chance to see what you're doing, but don't try and race and lose him. That's not your idea. But in that scenario, there was an opportunity there, and as a comfortable rider, if you can take over a car like we did there in that merging option, I safely got into a position, and that wasn't enough time for the second person behind me to make that, so that's fine. So we're carrying on here ahead. You can see there's little options there that will cause you to look. Now see that glance there? That was because that truck is parked there. So I've already shown in advance that I was contemplating moving lanes, so I looked around, did my glance, did my indicator. If in doubt, do it as you would do with a car. Would a car fit through that? No, so you would slow down. So we're carrying on the road ahead. I'll do some of this as voiceover, but the rest of it I'll let you watch the ride. So you can see here every now and again I'll just glance around me to see what's going on, because sometimes it depends who your instructor is, but they might pinch up alongside you, get really close to see if you would notice them. So yeah, I've had that with my instructors giving me that heads up. They're not that bad. They're not going to catch you out on purpose. But if they're having a bad day, you never know, do you? But yeah, I did pass, so it was alright. Okay, so carrying on, we can see we're just following the road ahead. Now he's supervising me, and I'm basically riding at my pace. So, okay, here we go. What's going on here? Why is he slowed down? Okay, there's 2 lanes, and I either got an instruction to go right. I'm trying to recall now, but you'll see there, I carried on because that car on the left was just waiting there. So that's his problem. He's waiting on a green light, so I've safely maneuvered around that situation and carried on. So just because I was looking well ahead, I saw, wait a minute, the light's green, why is that guy parked there? I didn't go behind him and stop. I just found the option to carry on and continue. So you're showing that you can handle situations as you would on a daily situation. If you end up going behind him and stopping there for ages, then that would have been like a really odd thing to do, and then you'd have to do extra checks and get out and then so smooth and forward planning. So I lifted my visor up a little bit there to get a bit of fresh air in, and I'm just noticing my camera's a bit slanted here, isn't it? So it's a bit like you have to tilt your head. But anyway, we're carrying on. He's observing me. You'll see the road markings. You'll see what you're doing. You're looking at speed limits. You're looking at any diversions, any roadwork possibilities that you're planning ahead for. So here I've slowed down to a rolling pace because I don't know what that guy in front of me is doing. Here we're coming up to a traffic light system ahead, I think. Let's see. So yeah, we can see, well, this traffic slowed down. Is a biker, is it? No. So we're trying to figure out, yeah, so okay, there, dump truck, see that? We well ahead saw that something's going on, everything's slowing down. So we anticipated that and slowed down well ahead. The slower you are, the more time you've got to react to any issues that may be happening. So carrying on here now, we're following this car more or less, it looks like. And you'll see that every now and again I'll just glance over each mirror because alongside this is a cycle lane as well. So we don't want any cyclists coming into us. So keeping your eyes about you and anticipating anything that could happen. We've got a crossing here, so I looked both ways to make sure no one's waiting to cross. Cars parked on the verge, and also continuing, we are seeing a number of options for a straightforward road. Now it seems like it's fine. There's a car in front coming towards us, fine, not turning into our route or across our path. So all these little things need to be in your mind as you're riding and doing this. So yes, this is kind of giving you that option. At some point he may come in front of you and ask you to follow his riding, and yeah, so it's basically a number of things that can happen. But I gave you an intro about this. You saw the bus turning there, so we're slowing down, giving time to anticipate the vehicle speed and another crossing. So we're looking at both sides. No one was immediately waiting, so we carried on. And carrying on there, we've got a turning now. So what's going on here? Okay, so we're looking around. We're gonna carry on straight. If there's no instruction, then you just carry on going straight unless told otherwise. And if you're getting radio signals, follow those through. So yes, this gives you an idea of the test itself. And also what I will do is I'll leave this running so you can see the remainder of these roads that we took, and I'll probably speed it up a little bit so you've got something with a bit of music so you can see it. But my commentary is going to be the same all over. Basically, keep well ahead of what you need to do, anticipate what's going on, do your checks, make sure there's no one sneaking in alongside you, any cyclists, maintain a strong position and be comfortable, and best of luck. You are gonna pass, and when you get to the back to the test center, I'll let you know what they do and how they tell you about that and what they record and etc. So yes, wham, you can do it. You're gonna pass, people. Okay, your test results. You'll be told if you passed module 2 at the end of the test. The examiner will make a note of dangerous faults, those involved actual danger to you, the examiner, the property or the public. Any serious faults that are potentially dangerous, riding faults that are not potentially dangerous but could become serious if keep making them mistakes. These are things that they can inform you of. You'll pass module 2 if you make no serious or dangerous faults, sometimes called majors, no more than 10 riding faults, sometimes called minors. If you pass your test, I'm hoping you will pass your test. When you pass your test, the examiner will tell you what faults you made, if any, give you a pass certificate, ask you if you want your full license to be sent to you automatically, give the examiner your provisional license if you want to do this. You can start riding without L plate straight away when you passed your test, so you can rip those bad boys up. You do not need to wait for your full license to arrive. So contact DVLA if your full license has not arrived 3 weeks after you applied for it. If you do not pass, you have to book another module 2 test and pay again. You have to choose a date at least 10 working days away.